Welcome class to today's lesson 1.3 day 4. Today we're going to continue writing equations of lines, but this time using 2 points. Point slope form from before, we had y minus the y value of the point equals m times x minus the x value of the point. This time they're not going to give you that slope. So if you have 2 points, we're going to use the slope formula. Go ahead and pause the video and write down this equation. So it's y2, so second y minus the first y, divided by second x minus the first x. Try to write these 2 and 1 nice and small. So it's just telling you which y it is. So write a y with a little 2, y with a little 1. Pause if you need to copy this down. Here we go. So before, when we had the slope and 1 point, we were able to write the equation of the line. This time they don't give us the slope. So let's start with finding the slope. I take the second y minus the first y. And then it is divided by, and now since I took the 8, which is the second y, on the bottom, I'm going to take the second x minus the first x. Let's simplify the top and simplify the bottom separately. 8 minus 5 is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. And if you can, please go ahead and simplify and reduce that. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that's our slope. Let's practice a few more slopes to make sure we're getting really good at this. Please pause the video, try the next few problems of just finding slope. Continue the video when you're done with finding all of the slope, and then check your work. Now that you tried the problems, let's check how you did. Did you put the y's on top of the fraction? Make sure it's y minus y. So if you need to, write xy, xy. And then this is x minus a negative 2. So careful with these two negative ones. You can circle it if you will. Negative minus a negative really means plus. So the top is 9 minus 5, which is 4. And this is 1 plus 2 on the bottom. And from here, I can't reduce anymore. You do not need to change this to 1 and 1/3. Leaving it as a fraction of 4/3 is fine. So the slope is 4/3. Let's try again. Check your work. I hope you tried these already. Make sure y is on top. And this is a negative minus another negative. So it's a bigger negative number. 7 minus 7 is 0. Now you still need to simplify this. If I have nothing and I divide it into 6 parts, I really still have nothing. So yes, you do have to simplify all the way to equal 0. So this slope is 0. Did you put your y's on top? Y minus y, x minus x. Here again we have a minus negative, so the bottom really is plus. And leave that fraction, that's our slope. How did you do? Go ahead and correct any mistakes that you had. Now we're going to put it together. We're going to write the equation of the line passing through 2 given points. So first let's start with finding the slope. Using the slope formula again, just like we practiced, y minus y, and then x minus x. And simplify the top, simplify the bottom separately. 11 minus 7 is 4, and 4 minus 2 is 2. If you could reduce, please reduce one more time. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now that we have the slope from the lesson day 3, given one slope in one of these points, we can write the equation of the line. You may choose of these 2 points which one do you want to choose. I like to choose the first one, especially if it's positive. So let's choose this first point right here. All right, this is what we did on the day 3 lesson just before. So let's put in our new slope in the front, the x and the y. Substitute carefully. From here, just like we did before, we're going to distribute. So 2 times x, squeeze that together. 2 times a negative 2 is still negative, and 2 times 2 is 4. Last step, undo this minus 7, so we're going to do plus 7 on the left, plus 7 on the right. Simplify the last two numbers, and the positive number is bigger, so I know my value here is going to be a positive number. So we started with 2 points. We found the slope. We use that slope in one of the 2 points, and we place it into the point slope form. And we're ready to graph if we need to. This is now y equals, so this 2 is my slope, and that 3 is my y-intercept. If I need to graph it, I can graph that y-intercept of 3, and I can use that 2 over 1 to graph. Let's try a few more. Let's find the slope. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Now careful on your simplifying. This is a negative number, and you take away 8 from there. So both numbers are negative. You're actually going to have a bigger negative number. And this is minus a negative, so these will cancel out to a positive. So it's going to be 3 plus 1 on the bottom. And if you can reduce, yes, I can do 12 divided by 4. That is 3. A negative divided by positive is still negative. We have our slope. If it helps to remind you, write m right here, so that this is safe for our slope. Into the equation. Believe it or not, rewriting this equation here and then just substituting where you need to really does help you. I'm going to choose that first point. So here's my x, here's my y. Distribute that negative 3, squeeze these two together, and negative 3 times a positive 1 is negative 3. This is a minus 8, so let's add 8 to make sure it's opposite. So plus 8 plus 8. And these are opposites, but this one's bigger, so I know my value is going to be a positive 5. Please pause the video. There are 2 more to try. I'd like you to try those 2 first, then continue the video and check your work. Hopefully you tried these problems already. I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker so that you could just check your work. Pause where you need to. On top, 9 take away 12 would be a negative number. These two are both negative. Negative 4, take away 2 more. It's going to be a bigger negative number on the bottom. Negative by negative is positive. And yes, I can reduce the top and bottom by 3. So if I divide the top by 3, I get 1. Divide the bottom by 3, I get 2. And negative will give me that positive. Write m equals when necessary. Let's see if you substitute everything in the correct spot. Now, don't worry about the 1/2. Remember, 1/2 is cutting something in half. So when I distribute, I'm going to squeeze these two together. A positive times a negative is negative. Half of 2 really is 1. So I'm going to have a negative 1. I'd like to undo this minus 12, so let's do plus 12, plus 12. And these are opposites, so I'm going to cancel away, and I'm going to have more positive 11. There's one more to check. Remember, as I'm going, if I'm going too fast, please make sure you pause the video. Double check again. Did you keep the y's on top for me, please? The x is on the bottom. Now, these minus and negative actually means plus. So negative 7 plus 2 is actually negative 5. And this is 2 plus 3, which is positive 5. Reduce if you can. Negative divided by positive is negative. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we have a negative 1. Pause if you will. If you didn't do so already, go ahead and plug everything that you need. Choose one of the 2 points. It really is your choice. I see that this one's more positive, so I'm going to choose that point this time. If you chose the first point, it's okay. Your final equation will look the same. This is my x, this is my y. Be careful when you distribute that negative. Squeeze this negative in front of the x, but this is -1 times a -2, so that would be a +2. And this was minus a -7, so that's why this is positive. To undo, now we got to do subtract 7 once on the left, subtract 7 once on the right. These are opposites, but the bigger number is negative, so my final answer will be -5. Remember, if you write plus a -5, it is the same. If you left your answer as -1x in the front, that's also the same. That is it. That's the end of our lesson. If you go all the way to the back of the packet, you will see the assignment labeled 1.3, day 4. Give it your best try and refer back to the notes if you need to.